3, 2, 1. Welcome to the SquadCast webinar, Closer to Reality. Hello, everyone. So excited to be with you today. I see Daniel's in the chat. We have Scott in the chat. We have Yvonne in the chat. We have Rhonda in the chat from everywhere, from Kentucky, from Colorado, from Europe, from all over the world. We have an incredible community. Be sure to say hello in the chat. Let us know what your podcast is. If you're looking to start a podcast, why you're here, what you want out of today's webinar. So excited. My name is Esprit Devora. I have been podcasting since 2013, launching my first show in 2014. I have two really popular podcasts called We Are LA Tech, spotlighting the Los Angeles tech community, and Women in Tech, celebrating women in tech around the world. My Women in Tech podcast was featured in Harper's Bazaar as one of the top 10 podcasts to listen to in 2019. So exciting. But most importantly, I rely on SquadCast to have reliable, high quality remote audio. And I am so excited to be your host today and to introduce you to two of the most incredible co-founders I know, Rock and Zach. Hello. We have Zach right there. I think it's to your right, to your left. I'm not sure which way to go. It's that way for me, who is the co-founder and CEO of SquadCast. And then we have Rock, who is the co-founder and CFO of SquadCast. Behind the scenes in the chat, we have Danielle and we have Alex. So we have our whole team here cheering you on. And then we have people behind the scenes in the support. If you're looking to jump off the webinar and record an interview right now, we have our team there too. We have you covered. And we have an incredible special announcement later today. So, and a special guest joining us. So definitely stay tuned for that. I think that's all what you're here for. What is the mysterious secrets that we're going to find out today? And we can't wait to share them with you. But to kick things off, I want to welcome on Rock. Hello.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Esprit. And if that doesn't get your blood boiling, you just don't have a pulse, right? So like you said, we have a few things we want to cover today. It's going to be 3 topics for today's webinar. So first, Zach is going to start us off with the state of a remote podcasting address that he has prepared with us. And that's going to include some interesting data that we can't wait to share with you guys. And then also, we wanted to take this as an opportunity with so many people that are new to podcasting, new to remote podcasting, using SquadCast for the first time. We really wanted to take this opportunity to empower all of our customers with the knowledge to become like a power user and unlock all the secret features to get the most out of the SquadCast experience. And then finally, we're going to make our announcement about how your experience on SquadCast will be even closer to reality. So Zach, let's get us started.
And just before, Zach, you take it away, just a few things. Yeah. If you have a question below, there's an ask a question field right there. So we are going to be doing Q&A at the end. So be sure to get your question, and there's ask a question. If you do ask a question in the chat, we could try to turn it into a question for you. But a better surefire way to get your question answered is just to ask the question. Also, super cool, if you are nerding out on social media, we have clip moments over there. I think it's to your left. So if you'd like to clip any moment of this webinar and share it on your social, we are at SquadCast FM and on all social. Zach?
Yeah, thanks, Esprit, and thanks, Rock. We got a lot of awesome data to share with you to kick things off. So the state of remote podcasting, we're really honored we can help connect the podcast community. And, we've helped people, you have recorded thousands of hours of quality audio on SquadCast, and then several more thousands of co-hosts and guests recording all together from all over the world, more than 85 countries. So we have a blog post that we'll be sharing here in a second to check out a really awesome story that we featured recently. And that's of a new podcast that launched to a lot of success, over 25,000 listens on episode 1. And that's called Pediatricia.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
You guys, 25,000 listens on episode 1.
Number 1. Yeah. It's because they are helping connect doctors with information in these trying times amongst COVID-19. So that is called Pediatricia Intensiva. We help them record with doctors kind of on the front line, working to help people and patients in need of medical care in Italy. So the co-host and host are in Toronto and Boston, and then doctors in Italy on that episode. So we'll be sharing that in the links to check out. So just in the last month, we've helped a few thousand more podcasters start their podcast amongst these kind of trying times. So, check out that blog post, and we're really just honored that we can help in this situation. A lot of creativity going on. We're all kind of cooped up. So what better way to keep your podcast going? So really honored that we can help with that.
And I just want to give a shout out. Let's say hi to Scott. Scott, thank you for joining us. Phoebe, Tonto. Hello, Tonto. See, you could hear us now. I saw your little note, Tonto, when we were still in the green room. See, we're here. Daniel's here. We have Sarah here. We have Heidi, Gia, Josh. So exciting. Definitely be sure to say hello in the chat. Zach, sorry to interrupt. Continue on.
All good. So that's kind of a lap around the state of remote podcasting. We'll be having more to share with that next month, and we'll get to that towards the end. But we have some secrets to unlock in SquadCast. So why does that matter to you, Esprit, like secrets within SquadCast?
Okay, you guys, you have no idea. So we were doing like a practice run on the webinar, right? And we were going through the secrets of SquadCast. Now, I've been using SquadCast for several years. I love SquadCast. It is my default to make sure to feel confident in recording high quality audio remotely. And I'm not just saying that. I have a lot of experience with remote recording and wanting high quality audio. So I know how difficult it is. And so we're doing this run through. And even me, having used this for years, I was like, wait, you can do that? And you can do that. And I'm going to be so much more efficient now in my podcast production process. So I can't wait for this section. This is actually one of my favorite sections that we're going to be addressing today. And so the first one, as Zach calls it, is progressive upload technology. For me, that's too technical of a term. What's really cool is that I discovered SquadCast has patent pending technology. So not only is this a feature that SquadCast is built in to the SquadCast platform, but it's a feature that they have built, that they own, that it's I don't the legalities of patent pending, but having a patent is a really big deal. So I was just super impressed with that. And so progressive upload technology, so you don't have to worry about there being a delay in audio dragging. Zach, could you jump into that a little bit?
Yeah, so we just want to make it super reliable and fast and kind of the best experience possible, right? So we make sure we get that audio uploaded in the background while you're recording, and that's really bulletproof and also really fast. So your guests can kind of bounce out right when you're done. You don't have to wait around, and have confidence that those files are always going to be there for you.
Which is the sister to the brother of having automatic backups, right? Which is...
Yeah.
Okay, as a podcaster, how many times are you afraid of losing a file? I know when I started out in my podcasting career, I was completely afraid of losing a file, and then it happened, and it was the worst, and it was during a remote recording that was not with SquadCast, and I lost that file forever, and I was devastated, and I still wish I could get that file back, and this was years ago. So with SquadCast, I never have to worry about a file going missing because of their backup file technology. Even if the internet wipes out, even if which I did a few weeks ago, ended a session too soon, and not ended, I didn't press stop record, but I closed my computer, or the guest closed their computer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't wait for it to finish uploading, or I didn't even let it start uploading. Because of the backup technology, I don't have to worry about that. They have me covered. Zach, can you get into that more?
Yeah, so the progressive upload that we just talked about, that's our primary recordings. Those are really awesome, high quality, recorded locally, separate tracks, all that good stuff. That's the primaries. We have backups in addition to that, and that's the entire conversation from start to finish. So even if you forget to hit record, or you need a little piece of it or something like that, we have completely independent systems to make sure you always get that audio and you're not having to re-record or anything weird like that.
And then we have audio drift normalization, which was another one that I was just like, okay, Zach, what's that mean? So why don't you kick off this one, and then I'll break it down.
Yeah. So this problem of audio drift is kind of a dirty word. It shouldn't really be in our vocabulary. And that's what we're really, grateful we could move the needle on that with some pretty interesting technology. Again, second patent pending on that one. Really grateful for that. And all that means is it saves you a ton of time in post-production, not having to fix something that shouldn't be broken. So your files line up the way that they should and happen in real life. So saving you a lot of time.
So check out, this literally happened to me. I had a guest that I don't know why, but they didn't have a computer that worked. They couldn't install any software. I couldn't use SquadCast for this particular interview, right? So I use an app, and I paid for the pro account. And in the app, when I got the files, they were totally misaligned. Like when I was speaking, it was different than when the guest was speaking. And so luckily, because I have a production team, I had to have my production team work on it to line up the files, which takes so much more time. And I'm so thankful I never have to go through that with SquadCast. And so that's what Zach's talking about. It's like when two people are talking, but it sounds like we're talking over one another, or there's huge delays in our, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't make any sense. They got us covered. There's also separate and mixed recordings, which is really huge. So I spend a lot of time in editing my podcast episodes. So SquadCast provides us both MP3 files and WAV files. Now I use WAV files because they're typically higher quality when you're doing a lot of post-production work. And so if we wanted to keep it really, really simple and just have our podcast out there, do the interview and just get it live, SquadCast totally provides us a mixed recording. You don't have to think about anything. Now, if you're someone like me that I want to do a little bit more production, I could have separate tracks to all my files in the type of quality that I want. And then I could have my team work on it, and then we can mix it together ourselves. So it's just incredible that we can mix, combine, separate. I mean, so much power. Not only that, the thing that I want to get into next is I can easily share those files with my editing team with just a copy link button. And so I don't have to spend time downloading files and then re-uploading files. I could just send the copy link, and then they could take care of downloading it and put it wherever we store the files. And so that is just amazing. Are there any other notes you want to make on that, Zach, before we move ahead?
Yeah, we just want to set you up for success in post-production, right? It matters a lot what happens in your conversation, that the conversation in real time can flow, and that's a great conversation, as close to reality as we can deliver. But what happens in post-production and in production really is all in service of your listener's experience. So we want to set you up for success there with kind of the maximum flexibility. So that's why we provide ways where you can edit people independently of one another. Like I have a bulldog. He snores while he's awake. So being able to just kind of edit that out while I'm not speaking, it doesn't step on my guest's audio, maybe speaking at that same time. So if you want to mix those together, we make that really easy too. Just a lot of flexibility with your files.
It's such a good point that I forgot to bring up, is that some people may not know that, like, why even bother having separate files. And it's what you said, Zach, that if my guest, or if I cough or sneeze while someone else is talking, if they're mixed, you just can't take that out. But if they're separate tracks, you could remove the cough, you could remove the sneeze, just so much more power in your editing functionality. And soon we're going to be doing a poll too, because we want to find out what's important for you, what features most excite you. Because again, I mean, I've known these guys here for a while, and if there's one thing I know with so well is how much they care about our community. And so they genuinely want to know, like, what features are most important to you, because when they're having their planning and building conversations, they're putting the community at their forefront and making sure that we could be as successful as we could possibly be. And I just want to give a quick hello to Brian, to Yen, to Alice, and like just Hector, everybody for joining us. Yeah, the chat is on fire. Make sure to join the party. We have Danielle and Alex in the chat, making sure to connect with you. Eric, hello. And that you could utilize emojis. So much fun. If you want to ask a question, remember, we already have 18 questions in the Ask a Question, and we're going to be going through those. And then on the left, there's Clip Moment. If you're super into social media, like I know Danielle is, you'll want to utilize the Clip Moment, and then you could share any portion of this webinar on your social media if you find that fun. There are so many awesome features that we'd like to cover. One of them, another power feature that I learned that I didn't even understand how I could utilize, was reusing a session. So if you look in your SquadCast account, on the upper right, there is a reusable session. It's like, well, why do I need that? Now, if you use a calendar system like I do, Calendly, if I wanted to just have one SquadCast link that doesn't change and have that process completely automated, I can have that link in my Calendly, and then I never have to think about setting up every single interview in SquadCast. Now, for me, I do like to keep my separate sessions so they're more organized. I also, as I mentioned, do really high production, right? So with high production, what I sometimes need to do is re-record an intro or just create a lot of extra files. And so for me, it makes it really easy to see the guest name all together under one bulk area in one session. So you have a choice if you want like to have just a session dedicated to that guest or to have a reusable link session. Now, the cool thing, and something you guys, we didn't even talk about yesterday, but when Danielle and I were toying around last night, is you could click on, like if you use the reusable sessions, you could click on the files that you want to mix together. So you don't have to worry about like, well, how am I going to have a really quick mix session if I'm doing it all in the same session folder? SquadCast makes it so easy to just choose the files that you want to work with, and then they'll mix the files for you, only the ones that you want. And you can play them right in the player, as I'm sure most of you know, because you're all like our amazing SquadCast community. There's also echo cancellation, which is huge. Can you tell us a little bit more about echo cancellation? Because people forget their headphones sometimes.
Yeah, and it's kind of a weird jargony term. So yeah, it cancels feedback between speakers and microphones, and we've all kind of experienced that, right? Where you hold a microphone up to a speaker and it just creates this this gnarly sound. So so headphones are a really great way to deal with that without impacting any quality of your audio. So that's why we recommend recording with headphones always. People oftentimes think, you know, audio quality, microphone, that's what matters. That makes sense. But headphones are part of that equation because of echo cancellation when you're recording remotely. So that's why we recommend headphones, and you don't need echo cancellation. But if your guest, let's say, comes in and they don't have headphones because like you, they're, you know, not a professional podcaster, maybe, then you can they can use speakers too. That's all good, but you want to enable that echo cancellation. So it's just a little switch. You can flip at any time. If everybody has headphones, turn it off. You'll get better quality audio. Turn it on if somebody doesn't have headphones.
I love it. And you could also see what your guests are using, what equipment, what headphones, how their internet connection is. But what's really, really amazing, I can't emphasize this enough, and we're going to throw up the poll while I'm sharing this so you guys could hear my voice and hear what I'm sharing while we're throwing up the poll, so you could share with us which features you're most excited about. Is it the progressive uploads? Is it the automatic backups? Is it the audio drift normalization? Is it the separate files and mixed recording option? Is it the file sharing links? Let us know in the poll. What I wanted to share is that the power of utilizing SquadCast is, the way I understand it is, you're like, my computer is being recorded and my guest computer is being recorded. So if the internet is like really shoddy, especially like times like right now where the whole entire world is using the internet at the same time, we don't have to worry about the internet connection being bad of our podcast interview. And that is so vital, right? Because we just, and so knowing that I can have a great high quality audio interview and not rely on having really strong internet is just like a dream sent. And what happens is the files get sent up into the cloud, and then, but the files are the files from my computer and your computer, and then they spit back down to SquadCast. Whereas with some other platforms that we sometimes use for work conference calls, like everything's being merged up in the cloud, which means it's becoming a bit distorted. And so when it comes back down to us, even if they provide us separate tracks, it's still not the best audio quality if we want to be the best podcasters we want to be. Yeah. So I'm going to give a couple more seconds to the poll. I'm just so excited to see Simon and see Drew. How's everybody liking the webinar? Let me know. Like I'm looking at the chat. Bjorn, Andrew, Javier, Luigi, give me a thumbs up if you're getting a lot out of this. Let us know what you're excited about. Everybody that hears me right now, give me a thumbs up. Josh, Doug, Scott, Danielle, Alex, thank you, Rock, for your thumbs up. Danielle, Alex, you're doing an awesome job. David, I love it. Darren, Bob, Dee, we have so many wonderful people. This is so cool. And there are over 1,600 of you that have like wanted to tune in to find out what our power secrets are. I mean, that's an amazing community of podcasters that we have here. SquadCast is no joke. So with that, we have our poll results. And so I think Zach is going to walk us through our poll results. Zach, what did we find out?
It looks like there's a super clear winner. So thanks everyone for voting. And that is the separate and mixed recordings, which is
pretty cool.
Agreeably a big one. So
huge.
Really cool to hear that. Thank you.
Huge. Okay, Rock. So the time that we've all been waiting for. What does it mean to be closer to reality?
Great question, Esprit. And yeah, that is the big question is what do we mean by closer to reality? So we believe that your conversations and interviews are at their best when you and your guests feel like you're in the same room. And that's kind of always been the idea with SquadCast is to help people see others and build rapport and record that quality audio on SquadCast in the same spirit. And what's kind of cool to me is like, although the vision when Zach originally proposed the idea for SquadCast to me was much larger than what it is now. We're much more focused with our current vision, but essentially that was the idea was, record a conversation remotely and it just sounds like it happened in the same room. And so the ways that we thought was, okay, well, let's make it feel like it is actually happening in the same room. And so those both make your recording experience close to reality, but it is not every day that we find opportunities to bring the conversation even closer to reality. So with that, we are excited to announce that we have found that opportunity to bring an experience closer to reality through a unique collaboration with Dolby. Zach, please tell it.
Yes.
So
You couldn't get better at high quality audio.
Exactly. So Zach's going to tell us what we can expect and how that experience will improve using Dolby's technology.
Yeah, so coming really soon, you'll have this spatialized audio experience in your conversations while recording on SquadCast. So what that means is you and your guests are not only going to look like you're in the same place and have body language and eye contact, but you're going to have a sonic experience that makes you feel like you're in the same room. So if you're talking to three people, it's like somebody's to your right, somebody's to your left, and that's how things happen in real life. We're not all talking directly at each other. So having that experience is pretty subtle, but it makes people feel closer to being in the same room. So that's spatialized audio, feeling and sounding like you're in the same environment. So that's number one. Number two is an enhanced audio mastering experience. So after your conversation, you can then take the awesome sounding audio you record on SquadCast and you can do a bunch of Dolby's awesome post-production services. You can apply it to that audio non-destructively. So you have both, the source audio you record on SquadCast and then whatever changes you'd like to make to it. So that being like automatic leveling, EQ, background noise reduction, and a lot of other stuff that we'll be bringing to you through your dashboard in SquadCast. In addition to those two, so spatialized audio, enhanced audio mastering. So that's during the conversation, after the conversation. And then number three is having screen share during that conversation. So being able to share notes or videos or music or whatever you want during your podcast, you can share your screen like you're kind of used to in some other apps. We've never had that on SquadCast, so we're really excited to kind of bring that one full circle. And then number four is a live audience and listener experience. So what that means is you'll be able to privately engage with your audience on SquadCast. So you can invite your guest, but then also invite your audience. And that's more of a passive viewing experience. So you could imagine having like a premium Patreon tier, something to that effect, where you can invite your audience to kind of experience that interview as it's being recorded, kind of more raw and real like we are right now. You could have that for your audience as well as also recording the audio in the same way that we know and love today. So that's the private audience experience. Kind of the flip side to that is having a public live streamed social audience experience. So cool. That's, really excited about that. It's not just your audience though. It might be you have a big team. We work with some companies that have awesome giant post-production companies, and having a producer on there, having other people, other stakeholders is also really cool. So if you give us a moment, we're gonna
one quick question about that last one. Does it mean people can call in during the interview? Thanks for the question, Luigi.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we don't accept like landline phone calls on SquadCast because the quality is way lower than what we're used to recording today, and we never want to sacrifice that quality. So your guests will be able to join and kind of watch the conversation as it's happening, engage with you on chat, and have that kind of raw and real experience with you.
And if you have more questions, remember there's the ask the question. So I see some people posting questions like Drew, you have a question. And then Luigi, you had your question. And Chris, you have a question. There's a ton of questions I see. So if you have a question, be sure to ask a question below. And add in your question there. Also, remember, if you wanted to social share, there's the clip moment to your left if you wanted to share a little segment of this clip. But what I would love, share an emoji with me if you are as excited as I am about Dolby partnership. Like, I am blown away. Like, this is no joke. And we're going to be throwing up, we're going to be throwing up a poll right now, right, guys? So we're throwing up a poll right now to figure out which feature is most important to you. So again, like I said, the guys prioritize community. Like, there's no company. Like, if there's a level of companies that care about community the most, like SquadCast is at the top levels. You know what I mean? And so this kind of course, so this, and you guys know I really mean that.
Oh, I know, but it means a lot.
If only everybody in the chat could know how direct I am. So, if you guys, there's a poll going up right now, and you guys just enter in the features that are most important to you. So again, like, the guys can discuss it with the team and make sure they're building SquadCast exactly to make you a superhero podcaster. So we'll give that a little minute. While we're doing that, I'm so excited for our guest to join us.
And then just to be clear, just to clarify for everyone, so the recording experience on SquadCast is going to remain the same. It's just that the studio experience is going to be leveraging Dolby's technology, and that's what's going to be improving. And we actually have a representative of Dolby here to actually say a few words upon that, which we're really excited about. We have the Senior Director of Dolby's Media API platform, Shripal Mehta. Hey, Shripal, how are you?
Hey, Shripal. So Shripal, give us a second just so we could take the poll off the screen. So just in case you didn't enter in for the poll yet, we have the Spatialized audio. Am I saying it right, Zach?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Enhanced audio mastering, screen sharing, live audience and listener experience. Which features are most important to you? We'll give you just 5 more seconds, and then we're going to share that with the community so we're all like in the same group discussion. And I love the party happening in the chat. Definitely be sure to join in on the fun. We have Danielle and Alex saying hello to everybody. You see the SquadCast logo with Danielle and Alex. And then if you do have a question, I see we have 47 large questions so far. So be sure to make sure to get your question in the Ask the Question area. Zach, what are our poll answers?
Again, a pretty clear victory for live audience and listener experience. So that's super cool to hear. We're very stoked about that as well. We're all about collaboration, and of course, it's the collaboration between you and your guests, your co-host, and production. But there's your audience is a critical part of why we podcast, right? So being able to engage with them in the moment is going to be really cool as well.
Great. Simon, hello. Josh, hello. KS, hello. Andrew, hello. Be sure to ask your questions. Then ask a question. Shripal, I'll let you take it from here. Am I saying your name right? Did I say it right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks so much.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. I'm like elated about all of this. Thank you for, sharing your time with us. This is just a huge gift.
Of course, and thanks for having me. Brock, Zach, it's great working with you guys, and I hope all of you that are on the webinar are staying safe and healthy right now. Right now, in this new normal that we're living in, high quality interaction and content are more critical than ever. We're all kind of starving for those intimate connections with others, and frankly, it's all of you that are creating all that content that's keeping us fed. So I just wanted to send out a personal thank you to all of you to, creating all that content for us. I wanted to say that SquadCast's mission is well aligned with Dolby, right? We both of our companies are obsessively trying to provide better quality audio to creators worldwide. And so whether you want higher quality live conversations or higher quality recorded audio, you can now get that on SquadCast using the latest technology from Dolby. And so for your live conversations, our new voice and video communications technology are going to give you a truly immersive personal experience to bring you closer to your guests, remove those distractions, and allow you to focus on the content in that conversation with your guests. And for your content, we wanted to give you the tools that you need to enhance your audio to allow you to higher quality audio faster. So when Zach and I first started talking about this, he said, well, I don't know if I need this, right? So SquadCast provides you with the highest quality original recording already, kind of like organic produce. I'm like, okay, I agree with you. I think that's one of the biggest things that you get with SquadCast. And so what we wanted to do is kind of give you everything from that organic produce all the way up to a full meal, right? So if you want, you'll soon have access to a audio processing algorithms to help you wash that produce to make it just a little bit better than it is. And for those of you that don't like to cook, you can get closer to a full meal, right? So
I love that description.
It stuck with me with organic produce. And so the idea here is control, right? So you as creators get to decide whether you want to get the original recording just as you had it, whether you want to do a light touch, like maybe doing some loudness leveling and things like that, or you want to get all the way to as close to a finished product as possible by using background noise reduction and dynamics processing and equalization and things like that. So I'm super excited to have you guys try this out. Here at Dolby, we're trying to enhance every interaction and every piece of content. And so we're super excited to see you have that action, excited to have you see that in action in SquadCast.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And can you tell everybody, just in case, your name again and your role and the whole thing, where can they say hello on social?
Yes. So my name is Shripal Mehta. I'm head of our new Media API platform. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that in the coming weeks. Right now, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm on Twitter at Shrip Mehta, but LinkedIn's probably the best way to find me.
Sweet.
And if you have anything, check out my profile here on the Crowdcast.
Perfect. And once we're done, do you want to just paste your LinkedIn in the chat, maybe?
Absolutely,
or
I'll do that.
I'll put that in there too. Cool. Thank you so much, Shripal, for spending your time with us. Being that I've been using SquadCast for years, and like I said in the beginning, I have an award-winning podcast. It was featured on Harper's Bazaar as one of the top 10 podcasts to listen to in 2019. I take podcasting very seriously. I'm not a podcast hobbyist. I'm a podcast professional. And to hear that Dolby is partnered with SquadCast to up my game and all of our games to be the best podcasters we can be, this is just so cool. The mission behind my podcast is about social impact and empowering people. And I hope that, our podcasting community as a whole is really about moving people forward. We have such an intimate connection with our audiences, and that Dolby is now part of that experience with us is just get out of here.
No, we're so
awesome.
We're super excited to be connected to the community. So thank you.
And when will all these awesome features be available to us on SquadCast?
Yeah, so you can kind of think of this as two different things. There's the spatialized audio that I mentioned. There's the enhanced audio mastering and the screen sharing. Those will all be landing in May. So that's right around the corner. We're super stoked for that. And we're kind of in the final phases of testing right now. So if you're in our beta program, feel free to reach out about that, and we'll get you going on it just to get your feedback. We're big on that, as the community knows, and really just try to get out of the way and listen. So this is no exception to that. That's why we wanted to have this awesome announcement about this, amazing collaboration between our two companies in advance, so that way we can get it in front of people. So let us know what you think about that in May, and then the live audience and listener experience, as well as the streaming of that, will be coming later in the months thereafter. So really excited for what's coming in the 2020 year for us, as well as some other things that I've been seeing come up in the chat. So I'll keep you in suspense on those. But for now, we're really, really stoked for this giant step forward for SquadCast in terms of quality. Like Rock said, it's not every day that we come across these opportunities to improve the quality even further. So, that is something where it was really no-brainer decision for us when presented with the option to collaborate with Dolby. It's just kind of an amazing collaboration. So we're very proud of our work together.
I mean, even saying amazing is like an understatement. This is unreal. When I picture Dolby, I picture having the most pristine sound with my favorite movies and just, any kind of experience that I want it to be impeccable, pristine audio is Dolby. And so that I have access to that as a podcaster blows my mind. And I bet it's probably going to be really expensive.
So that's probably the part we're most excited about, is that this is going to come at no additional cost. This is just included with your subscription plan. Everyone's going to have the ability to just schedule a session very similar to what you do now, except you'll be able to click a button or a knob that'll be like a powered by Dolby or Dolby technology session, something like that. But no, all of these are with your current subscription, no additional cost to the customer. And we just want to make it better for podcasters. So
I mean,
that's why
I don't
we're
know
so
if
excited.
everybody's going to be okay with that. I think we all wanted to pay. Like, you guys write in the chat if you're okay with it being no cost. Is that like, should the guys change their mind on that? Like, what do you guys think? Like, should we just include? We got Alice gave us like a little sweat face, like rejoice. Yeah, no additional cost, Brian. It's so exciting. Yvonne, Nancy, like everybody's stoked. Meti, like I'm so glad that you guys are as grateful as I am. And will all these features be available at once, you guys, or how is this going to work?
Yeah, that first batch that I mentioned, so spatialized audio, the enhanced mastering, as well as the screen share, those will all be landing in May. So super excited, right around the corner.
And make sure you make a note. Drew definitely wants to pay more, so he could pay more. But then
Thanks, Drew.
Phoebe, she said she's
We'll
okay
figure
with no
something
extra cost. Yeah. This is just so awesome. Okay, so Rock, take it away from here.
Yeah, so that was my announcement, was to make it that it's no additional cost, that it's the same experience, just better, just enhanced.
And remember that if you guys have questions, we're up to 51 questions in the Q&A right below. So we're going to leave time at the end for questions. If you wanted to social share, on the left-hand side, there's like a clips moment that you could social share to. It's really cool feature. Danielle and I were playing it with it last night. And I think something I forgot to mention, I know it's similar names, but we are doing the webinar on a platform called SquadCast's. SquadCast's has no association with SquadCast. It's two totally different companies. We just thought it was a cool platform to use for webinars. So just so there's no confusion, this is being powered by a webinar platform called SquadCast that is completely separate from SquadCast. No relation whatsoever, other than the guys bought a SquadCast account to be able to share news with you. Shripal, before we move on to next steps, do you have any questions for the community that you'd like answered that they could write in the chat, or for the guys?
Yeah. When you after hearing about all this, what do you want most from Dolby?
Well, Shripal, you got our list, so we'll keep our opinions silent.
And Zach, I think we did like a little poll before you came on. What was the feature that you thought that the community shared was the most exciting? I think it was the live audience, right?
It's almost a toss-up now between the live audience and listener experience and the enhanced audio mastering. So
nice.
Dolby's rich heritage in sound magic is, I think, something that we're very excited about as well. So thank you for voting in the poll and letting us know what you think.
Awesome. And remember, we have Danielle and Alex in the chat, totally there for you. Corby, hello. Obadia, I hope I'm saying your name right. I know everybody has a ton of questions. Sahad, hello. Heidi, I love having you here. Brohelio, I hope I'm saying it right. Scott, I thought SquadCast would be the video. No, I'm glad I mentioned it. It's two totally separate things. The SquadCast and SquadCast are completely different companies. I'm glad I remembered to bring that up. To recap what we've covered today, we've captured the state of remote podcasting and shared some new data. This is something that the guys are going to be talking about a little bit later, but I'm just going to give a teaser that these cool engagements with our community are going to happen more ongoing. So we're going to get into that later. So be sure to stay tuned so you could get the exclusive access to know about these advanced features before they're coming out and maybe get early access to some of them. We've shared how everyone can become a SquadCast power user and unlock secrets to get more out of SquadCast. It's something that I personally experienced. Remember, you guys, I'm a SquadCast user too. I'm not just, a podcast host randomly on this webinar. I have been a fan of SquadCast since 2018 when I first discovered them. I've been invested in audio technology since 2015. I should say remote audio technology since 2015. So I've seen how difficult it is to build audio technology to get the compliant, the the browsers to be compliant with audio tech. It's a crazy world. I know for us, it seems like, why doesn't this just work how we want it to work? But what the guys have had to go through to get us to have the peaceful experience we have to record high quality remote audio is insane. It's very complicated, very technical, and they have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it done. And it's extremely exciting that Dolby's on board to make it even more powerful for us. So we covered the power features. If you guys have more questions about how to utilize these features, remember to ask in the chat. And then we announced a unique collaboration with Dolby, which I'm so geeked on, to bring your experience on SquadCast even closer to reality. And Zach, do you have any last words before we get into the Q&A?
Well, you have been incredible, Espree. So thank you.
Thanks.
And this whole experience has been pretty incredible for us. So appreciate everybody's enthusiasm. And thank you all for joining us today. These webinars are new for us, but as Espree mentioned, we're really stoked to be bringing these to you monthly now, moving forward. And there's a button there, the green, to register for next month's webinar on the state of remote podcasting. So I gave a super 10,000 foot high level view of some of the data that we have, but that is good, data from you and your experience. So we want to open that up and make that useful to you. So things like what actually is the most popular microphone that we see people record with. That doesn't have to be some opinionated thing from an influencer on a blog somewhere. That can come from data. And we're very, really excited to bring that through to you in a new industry data report that'll be part of that webinar next month. So register for that. And, next month's topic, like I mentioned, state of remote podcasting. And that report that I mentioned is in collaboration with an awesome podcast studio, physical studio that uses SquadCast for remote stuff. But they have an awesome space in downtown San Francisco called Studio Pod SF. So check that out if you're in the city. Once we can all get back together like humans, check out Studio Pod, and really awesome that we can collaborate with them on that data report. So go ahead and click on that green button to register for next month. And we will be sharing this video following the webinar. So if you came in maybe after we got started and you want to check out those power users secrets, that's all good. We'll be posting this on our blog, and everywhere you'll see it from us at SquadCast FM. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to Dolby.
Wait,
thank you,
Espree. You're making it sound like it's done. We have a whole Q&A coming up.
I'm just so grateful.
We have a whole Q&A coming up. So stay tuned. Right now, we're going to be doing questions. I do these things because I really care about your journey in being the podcaster that you want to be. So if you want to reach out to me further, you can't ask me technical questions about SquadCast other than my own personal experience, but you can ask me about my podcasting journey. I'm Espree Devora on all social, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. If you want to email me, it's espree@espreedevora.com. I'm sure Danielle can include it in the chat too. Danielle or Alex, include my handles there. Definitely feel free to reach out to me. I know that pod fade is a real thing where people feel discouraged. Pod fade is when people drop off of podcasting because they feel discouraged. They're not getting the numbers they want to get. Stay in there. It's 2020. I've been podcasting since 2013, before it was like super cool. And I do it very connected to, and I know there was podcasting way before 2013, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what it is today. It's like the new blog, the new website. It's like a must have, right? It wasn't that in 2013. The reason I stayed connected to being a podcaster is because I'm really passionate about the purpose of why I create the content I create. And I've been paid by sponsors, and I have had amazing opportunities, including keynoting with Richard Branson, all because of podcasting, right? I've met some of the most powerful people in the world because of podcasting. So if you have any questions about your podcasting journey and I could be supportive of you in that journey, simply reach out to me on social. I see Alex and Danielle posted it in the chat box, my contact. It's at Espree Devora on all social, and I'm happy to be supportive of that. So with that, if you have any questions, be sure to add them in the chat below at we're at 51, and so it's right there. And Zach, why don't you take it away with where we'll start? And I think and then who's monitoring the questions to click start? Who should be in charge of that?
Yeah,
okay, you got it. Okay, perfect.
There we go. So video recording. This has been all the rage in the chat, I see. So
Yes.
thank you for asking your question. And it's a really great question. So we've always, like Rock said earlier, we have always had we'd always had video for our conversations, which make the conversation close to reality. With Dolby's enhancements, we are proud to be making that even closer to reality with the spatialized audio and the other things that I mentioned. So we're always looking for those opportunities, and video was that first step. So I think that's kind of the core of why people ask us for video recording. And let's just be real, that's amazing. Like being able to record audio today is awesome, but recording video in addition to that is kind of something that we're really stoked about bringing to life. And everybody who's I've talked to in the community knows that I'm a pretty transparent person, and we're a very transparent company. So full transparency, we're working on video recording right now. So that's something we're really excited to be bringing to life. This opportunity to work with Dolby does not come along every day. I think we can all agree that having those technologies empowering each other is going to be awesome. So, we're growing our team so that we can move faster. And that is one of the efforts that we're focused on for this year is video recording. So check out for that later.
I'd like to jump in with something a little bit off the cuff, and you could tell me if I'm a little too soon, Zach, but I'm just curious. I know that I would love to have video, and I'd be willing to pay for it because I want video. Would it be okay with you if we ask the community if they feel as I do, or we could throw up a poll just to kind of gauge, because I know you guys are deep in building mode trying to figure it out. Yeah. And I know, is that okay, or is that a little too soon?
No, it's cool.
That's what we do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll throw up a poll real quick. Why don't you create that right now? Just a little bit about what it would be worth to the community and how many people actually want video. Maybe it's just me and a couple others. I don't.
I'm glad you brought that up though, Zach.
I have a note for that team. It's just kind of like an obvious question. It's something that I'm thinking is this going to be crazy, or what's the game plan here? But it's something that I'm definitely willing to pay for. Ben says it's 2020. We need video. Yeah.
Well,
Marcos says we'll pay for simple podcasting and video. Yeah. Marcos, if you could add your feedback into the poll. Zach, are you throwing up the poll right now?
Yes.
And again, you guys, this wasn't planned. I'm putting Zach on the spot. So if you guys have been one of the people that have said, I really want video, be sure. Nancy's asking how many people want it, or how many want to pay extra for it. It's how much is it essentially worth to you? I know for me in my production, I interview, let's say last week, I interviewed one of the most powerful venture capitalists in the world. And if I could have guaranteed, and that's going to be shared on I'm thinking about how private I want to be.
Thanks, Evo.
That's going to be shared by South by Southwest. It's a really big deal, right? And so if I had high quality video with high quality audio that I could have relied on, I 100% would have paid for that, because it just would have been so much better. In addition to that, it could help me with my YouTube development, to help me market my podcast. A lot of things that I just can't do right now because I don't want to rely on the other platforms, because it's just a little grainy quality, or it just feels like I'm doing a random work call, right? It doesn't feel like production level quality. And so that's the question, Nancy, is how much is it worth to you? I know how much it's worth to me. Let me know if that answers your question. And Patty, you said yes to video. Yeah, go.
I could be transparent again about this again. Is that let us know. But I don't believe we've done a lot of research. We've been at this about 3.5 years. I don't believe anybody offers a proper double ender style video recording platform. So
what's double ender mean?
Recorded locally. Recorded locally, not like the other options out there that have been in the media this week for privacy concerns. They record video, but it's over the web, and that degrades the quality. And your viewers, your listeners, that's really not up to their quality standards. So that's where we find this opportunity to apply the same, you mentioned, Esprit, that's those same patents applied apply to audio and video. So a lot of that prerequisite work and knowledge and learning and R&D and all of those investments that we've been making over the last 3.5 years, those are all in service of adding video recording to the platform as well. So I know, that could not come soon enough, but I think it also doesn't exist right now. So we're very, very, very excited to bring that to life for the first time.
And Nick, SLM, Patty, Alice, Nick, Josh, everybody definitely included Chris in the poll that Zach has up right now. We'll leave it up a little bit longer. Zach, another question that I saw earlier was some sites out there are having a problem, as you mentioned, with people popping into their video feeds. Will we have that? Is that something we could discuss? Will we have that issue with SquadCast when we're doing in the future a video interview, the potential of someone jumping into our private interview?
No, it's never been a problem for us. I don't believe it's going to be a problem in the future. We take security and your identity and your guest's identity and all of those things very seriously, and we have from the beginning. So, nerdy stuff, right? We encrypt everything. Your guest is anonymous as far as we're concerned. We're not like marketing to them or trying to like get them to start a podcast or something like that. We know that you work very hard to build those relationships with your guests, and who are we to insert ourselves into the middle of that relationship? Your guest doesn't even need to know who SquadCast is or what we are. They just want to know that we're getting them very high quality audio. And that's kind of where, we can help, but we don't do kind of weird stuff with it thereafter, like selling your data to Facebook and other stuff like that. So, I think that matters more and more as we move into the future. So it's a really good question.
And Mike, Sam, even though you would rarely use it, definitely give the guys your feedback in the poll that's up. I can't even see the poll, but you guys can. So definitely give your feedback there. Evo had a great comment that I actually just want to address about having a video-based podcast is a hard thing to succeed at. And when I think about video, and this is just talking about myself, remember, I produce and host the Women in Tech podcast, the We Are LA Tech podcast, and I've produced and host many other very large brand podcasts. And I think about video more like Joe Rogan. And so Joe Rogan is, in essence, an audio podcast that has great video so that he could continue to market his podcast on other channels with fluidity. Now, of course, Joe Rogan is the top of the top. He has a studio. But think about right now where he doesn't have access to that crew or that studio. How is he going to have the same kind of video quality? I heard that Howard Stern is having the same problem. I mean, I see Jimmy Fallon on YouTube having the same problem. There's so many professionals in this climate not having available to them high quality video and audio for them to produce amazing content. And to think that SquadCast could potentially in the future give us the ability to have like a sampling of being like an aspect of what Joe Rogan has when he has his in studio, that's what it means, at least to me. It's like I am an audio podcaster. I am not looking to become a YouTuber. I've been a YouTuber in my past. I built the first action sports social network. That's another time. At that time, I had a very successful YouTube channel. I know what it is to be a YouTuber, and I'm not looking to be a YouTuber. I'm very much an audio podcaster. But with audio podcasting, there's so many ways to market your podcast. I'm going to talk about like one of our friendly companies in the space. Headliner app is a great way to create like little social trailers for your podcast. It's something I use all the time. You could create transcripts for your podcast. There's so many elements to marketing to get the word out about your podcast. And maybe later, if you let the guys know, like they'll do a whole thing on like the different options to market your podcast on one of these monthly webinars. But the reason I bring this up is because video is an amazing component that could just further get the word out about your podcast. I hope that helps, Evo. And if that doesn't, I'm more than down to hear more of your thoughts. I thought your comment was really spot on. Yeah, yes. Nancy uses Headliner too. Patty doesn't want to be a YouTuber. Yeah.
If I could add something about video, the way we think about it is empowering creatives and walking away from the sound. You are having, half an hour, hour long, 2 hour long conversation and recording that on SquadCast and walking away today with awesome audio that sets you up for success and separate files and mixed files and all of those things. that is awesome and expands your flexibility as a creative. But imagine walking away with that same exact content, not needing to repurpose it, but to have it in a completely another medium and format. You still invested that same amount of time. You still had that same conversation, but you're getting much more out of it as far as your creative potential. So that's how we think about it, is building tools that connect creatives. And if that's audio for you, awesome. We are, very, very focused on the foundation of providing quality audio in remote conversations. That is not going to change. If you talk to any professional YouTuber, Rock and I went to Vid Summit last year, and they all are audiophiles, just like we are. But they have the added kind of format benefits of being able to have visuals. So if that's not you, all good. SquadCast is not going to change. This will be an optional thing that you can do in addition to the audio to walk away with more creative possibilities.
And as we're answering the next question, in the chat, if you guys can just write in the kind of webinars you'd like to see in the future, that would be great. Again, this is the inaugural SquadCast webinar. The guys are committed. I found this out just yesterday. The guys are committed to doing this ongoing, and the community is their driving force. So add in the chat, what are the topics that you want to see in the webinars to come? Okay, so Zach, I'm gonna hand the baton to you because you know what questions.
All right, yeah, let's check it out. So that was the video question. We are done answering that. So thank you for asking. The other question, I've been seeing this in the chat a lot too. So let's talk Apple, let's talk iOS and Safari. Just transparency. Again, that's been a big hole in our game for a long time, and we're not proud of that. And that is also because we are web standards based, and we build technology on top of what the browsers can let us do. So that is something where we are in collaboration, and it's kind of a balance between what browsers let us do, so Apple in this case with Safari or iOS, and what awesome technology we can build as software engineers on top of that. So kind of a symbiotic relationship there. And Safari is based on an open source browser engine. So we're working with Apple. Apple wants this too, frankly. They have an awesome podcast team, and pretty transparent about this. So I believe, I think there's some real momentum in that direction from our collaboration with Apple in the direction of adding support for accessing your microphone in a secure, permissions-based way. Somebody raised, questions about security. We should never have the ability to just turn on your microphone and record it, right? So that's why we have permissions. That's why browsers have permissions. And that's really where Apple is at right now, is making sure there's a secure way to do that. And just being transparent, they're a little bit behind the other browser vendors. So we're happy to help catch them back up. And because it's open source, we're really excited to help with that effort. So there is a blog post. I think it's squadcast.fm/blog/iOS-support. Check that out. We're adding updates there. If you want to dig deeper, WebKit is an open source project. You can find me talking to them in public about, where this is at and adding support there. So nobody wants that more than we do. And, there was also the question of an iOS app that was raised. We've talked to a lot of people, and guests don't really want to install an app to have an hour-long conversation. It's kind of it's a one-time thing. So that's why we're web-based. Potential does exist in the future for more native mobile apps, but those same limitations exist there as well. So Apple just in general is a bit behind there, and are working hard to catch that up. And we're happy to contribute there. Android fully supported. So, mobile is already a thing today. We're just working out some of the kinks there on iOS.
And I know we're at the top of the hour. If it's okay with you guys, I know I'm putting you on the spot. Anybody that needs to go, are you guys okay hanging out another 10 minutes to answer a few more questions, or do you have another meeting about to? Okay. Is that okay with you, Rock, too? Because the questions are in front of your face. I can't see you.
I'm down. And
okay, cool.
To elaborate on that, because of the constraints that Zach mentioned, we don't have a solid timeline of when that built release, but please rest assured that we'll be shouting it from the mountaintops when it's ready. You will know. You won't have to ask. We'll tell you. It's going to be great too, because as an iPhone user, I'm selfishly waiting for this to go.
Amazing. And Andrew had great comments on how he would utilize video and what's important to him, and a ton of great comments about iOS and appreciating the transparency. Like I said, we're just about to be at the top of the hour. If anybody needs to go, you can go, but we're going to stay on because we really care about your questions and we care about you. We're doing this to show up for you. I love how transparent the guys are as well. Just in case you need to go or you missed something at the beginning, there will be a recording of this afterward that you can access. And so if you have any trouble with that, you shouldn't just go to the same link. The same link that you use to access this webinar is the same link that you use to access the recording. It's the absolute same link. So just go to the same place. Wit is asking, are we posting this so we can see the post match up? Or I can't read it real quick. Wit, if you could ask your question to the Q&A, that would help a lot. If everybody wants to share the name of their podcast again, go ahead and include that in the chat as well. Let's jump back into questions so we could spend a robust 10 minutes on questions.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I'm trying to synthesize them together in the interest of time. So thank you everybody again for your time today. So there's some questions around kind of controlling your guests' microphone levels and your levels and gain and those types of things. So again, in that same transparent spirit, what we do today is we make an effort. We do our best effort to record you and your guest at a constant input gain level. And we've done a lot of testing there to make sure it's a good dynamic range without any clipping for you and your guests. But as you can see right here, this microphone has its own gain switch on it, knob, to lower that. And, you know, no amount of code that I write can run on your microphone, frankly. So your equipment is in your control. Your guest equipment is in their control. And we have a conversation happening in real life, right? So we recommend doing tests with them, hitting record and stop as many times as you like in a session. That's always been the case. And you can listen to those files, right? Record a 1-minute sound check with your guests. Make sure everybody's levels sound good. But then, you know, also that's kind of today in SquadCast. But as we roll out the Dolby enhanced mastering that I mentioned before, that will have kind of a level normalization ability in there. So that way your waveforms are coming out consistent, no matter environment that your guest is in, no matter environment you're in, and no matter what kind of, you know, equipment settings that we have. So, you know, Sripal mentioned our philosophy of organic audio. That's something that we've kind of is kind of a mantra for us internally. And that's another example of, we don't want to try to change your gain level, because our understanding is, you know better than we do. You're there, right? You're having that conversation. You know what it sounds like. So that's why we recommend doing tests, so we make that really easy for you. And it'll be even easier to change it after the fact if you want to, using the technology we mentioned from Dolby earlier.
Awesome. Let's take on another one, Zach. Oh, Rock, go ahead.
Well, one of the questions that I saw pop up, and it's been popping up more, so I want to get your take on it, Zach. And again, this is unrehearsed and raw, y'all, so enjoy. But the sound editing board, I'm noticing that's coming up more. What are your thoughts on that, and what way do you think we could implement that to help folks out?
Yeah. So again, right, organic audio. We don't want to distract from actually a real human conversation. We're trying to make this as close to reality as we can. And, you know, in real life, people aren't walking around with like horns and stuff like that. I guess they are, maybe here in Oakland, but you know, it's one of the things that we want to be very thoughtful and mindful and deliberate about how it will impact you and your guest experience. It doesn't impact anybody's audio quality is another one. So I think the kind of current logic there is that you would be able to do this in a future version of SquadCast, where you have kind of you know, you could imagine like a fifth track that is your sound samples that you're playing kind of in real time. Certainly screen sharing kind of gets us a step in this direction, because you could play videos on that screen and share that and have that audio pass through, right? So there is some possibilities there for new forms of creativity. And I think the soundboard is an interesting one. But really, you know, to date, we've been focused on human vocal conversation. So adding those is always possible in post-production. We make that really easy to work with your audio. You record on SquadCast in post-production, and just didn't want to kind of put things in the way of your actual human interaction. Try to make that as real life as possible.
And RC, I saw that you missed some parts of the webinar. There is going to be a recording after this. You use the exact same link that you used in order to join, and that's where the recording will be, so you could see it there. What's so cool is that the questions will be timestamped too, so if you want to jump to some answers of the questions, if you have questions, still feel free to ask questions in the questions box. I'll try to hang out with you a little bit longer, even after the guys have to go to their meeting, just so you can you could chat just a couple more minutes and make sure that you've said hello to your fellow community members. Zach, why don't we tackle another one?
Yeah, I'm just looking through them right now.
What has been some of your biggest takeaways from the webinar, you guys? What was the thing that that you loved the most? What did you find the most value in today's webinar? I'd love to hear your feedback on that. If you could just write it in the chat, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate that. And if there's anything you'd like us to do to improve, that would be great too. I know that Mateo had some great suggestions. Anybody else that has any suggestions, definitely let us know.
We can.
I'm glad you kept talking, because I was about to answer that, Esprit. I thought you were talking to us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I enjoyed this or that.
Yeah. Lots of things. It's been awesome. And I can talk about.
Enjoy, go for it.
Well, or I could talk about what else we got coming this year.
Yeah, why don't you do that? I think everybody would appreciate hearing that.
So transparency, right? Video recording, that's coming. That's very high on our priority list. So rest assured there. It's not available yet, but we also don't want to deliver software to you that doesn't work yet, right? So I think everybody wants that to work and work well, and that is our goal. So video recording is very exciting to us. That's coming this year, as well as we called network collaboration. So a lot of podcasters, right? Like Esprit, you were talking about Podfade before. For those of us who have been at it for a while, once you get kind of over that hump, then you start coming up with all these ideas for like a second, third, fourth, fifth show. And maybe that's a podcast network, right? We work with a lot of awesome networks in collaboration with like ESPN and Vox and just more and more all the time. And those forms of collaboration are very exciting to us as well. So being able to have multiple shows within your SquadCast account, being able to have different team members, as you said, Esprit, right? Your production team having access without needing to like share an account or something weird like that. As well as I saw somebody in the chat mention being able to kind of brand the recording experience. So we call that white label, and being able to have, you can imagine like I almost said SquadCast Cloud Studio. We have that today, but like an ESPN Cloud Studio or a Vox Cloud Studio, or We Are LA Tech or Women in Tech podcast Cloud Studio, right? So very excited about teams, shows, white label, and then kind of workflow enhancements. We are big users of the cloud and all the awesome things that come there. So moving around all these files, scheduling, things like that, we can have robots do that for us, frankly, and automate that stuff. So when your guest schedules with you, we could have that create a new session in SquadCast automatically, send the invite to them. When you're done recording, we can have those files sent automatically to your producer, whoever you like. So a lot of opportunities for integrations and automations there. And more partnership and collaboration opportunities, as well as we work with these other companies in our industry that are just as excited as we are to make your life as a podcaster a lot easier.
It seems like a lot of people are excited about white label. Like a lot. It's like really exciting. I see Patty, Marty, Nancy, Bob, like PN, like white label.
Yeah. That's going to be so fun for podcasters when, imagine inviting your guest and then they see your show, your branding. I mean, we want to keep the spotlight on you. So we can't wait to get it out to you guys too.
No, that's super. I mean, it's something that I don't think that you guys know is something that I've dreamed about for years, is having a podcast network, a network of my shows. So to even think that I could have this studio space, that's awesome. Let's take a couple more before we get to the 10th minute.
All right. So just looking through here, there was a question about using fancy cameras with video. That's totally possible today. We have video on the platform today, so you have that body language and eye contact that Rock mentioned. I'm using a Logitech camera that's not my default kind of Mac OS one, and that works on SquadCast the same way. So yeah, any camera you like, and that's going to be supported. We're all about the quality, so really, really excited about that. more video recording stuff, differences from competitors. We have that on our website. Check that out. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. We're,
I appreciate that.
Well, it's
try them all out. That's what we say.
These are big problems worth solving. So I have empathy for anybody trying to move the needle here. So yes, like Rock said, happy to take the Pepsi challenge any day of the week. There is video now in the conversation. It's not being recorded. Can people call in during the interview? No, just no, because quality. So I think, there's lots of ways to record phone calls. That's cool with us. Use those options, but we never want to sacrifice that audio quality. That's why we're in this. So we're not going to add call-ins. I'm pretty confident about that as well. So it's a good question.
One thing Eric asked, I'm curious. Eric asked, he'd love to see some tech advice on the SquadCast website in written format, not just instructional video. I'm curious, Eric, what if it was just in a transcript? Is that, and Zach, did you guys have anything in the works on that?
We have both. Yeah. Every one of our support docs has a video and is also written out. The videos themselves, we want to respect everybody's time, right? When we're connecting with a guest, like, time is of the essence. And we don't want to waste your time reading through some lengthy articles. So we go through we do a lot of work to make those articles and videos as short as possible. So I think they're all around a minute long. The videos, the articles are just kind of, bullet lists. But yeah, they are in both formats. And if you have a question, we take support very seriously. So, always feel free to hit us up within support hours.
And I see that Vlad may be concerned that we're missing a question. Vlad, have you asked your question in the ask a question box just below? That's where to ask a question that we're going through. We're just going through as many as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, so our plan's kind of at a high level. Everything is centered around $5 an hour per recording, and that's for you and up to up to 3 guests, so 4 people total. And
that's all. This is audio podcasting. The video stuff does not exist yet. That's still being built. There's nothing definitive about that. This is just what exists today.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So payment plans, that's a really good question. We have that on our pricing page, squadcast.fm/pricing. But like I said, it's all around $5 an hour. And then if you need more time, there's discounts baked in for volume. So you can go up to 50 hours if you want per month. If you ever need more, you can buy an hour on the fly for that same rate, $5.
And you guys have,
just to clarify,
go ahead, Rob.
Just to clarify one thing on the pricing, the number of guests that you have in a session doesn't impact that recording hour. So if you record for 2 hours, whether you have 3 guests or 1, it's the same. It's just going to be that recording hour.
Okay. So I think it's a question of like ad hoc pricing versus a subscription. I think that's more the nuanced question. So transparency, again, we tried that. Most people didn't like it. And the plans keep us podcasting as well, like Esprit said, with PodFade. So, you're motivated to continue that workflow, and you can, we have plans kind of that meet all different needs. So up from 1 hour all the way to 50 hours a month. And if you need more, let us know. We're happy to work with you on that.
And unused time. Unused time automatically rolls over.
Sorry, go ahead, guys. Sorry, I talked over you. Go ahead.
Unused recording time automatically rolls over as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we don't.
I keep talking over you. I'm so sorry.
All good.
I just want to give love to Louis. He's giving us love. Can we just give love to Louis?
Give Louis love.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you. And
sorry to get away the love, Louis.
Stay safe in big cities. We're in the Bay Area. We know what that's like. So stay safe out there. And yeah, we do not offer ad hoc pricing. They're all subscription based. We have a 7-day trial, and they are all priced around $5 an hour. Not around, but they are centric to $5 an hour, no matter how much time you need. So it gets cheaper as you need more.
Louis gave us kisses and hugs. Now, if there's any further questions, you guys, as we wrap up this amazing webinar, where can everybody go with questions? How do they continue to stay connected to the SquadCast community?
Yeah, so we're kind of everywhere at SquadCast FM, and we're happy to connect anytime, anywhere, and we're really, really proud to be part of the podcast community. So we always encourage people, once we kind of hopefully get back to normal after these crazy times, and get back to our awesome podcast community events like Podcast Movement, Podfest, the Listen In event that's coming up, Outlier, all the awesome events that happen in the podcast community. I can't recommend those more. They're awesome. So as we get back to that kind of aspect of our lives, feel free to come and say hi. We have swag. I know saw some people asking about like the hoodies and shirts and stuff. We give that stuff away at those events. So we also have a page for it if you want it in between on our site. But
Say the page. It's what is squadcast.fm/shop, I think, right?
Yeah, /shop. We have yoga pants on there that are pretty awesome, and a bunch of other things. Yeah, if I just stand up, right? Yeah.
And again, I know in the internet world, sometimes these things are pre-recorded. This is very much live, and the guys want to continue doing these to be really connected with you in a meaningful way. So be sure to register below for the next one. You'll see the green button, and then that's where you can register for the next one. To watch the recording, if you missed a few parts of this one, simply utilize the same link that you use to sign up, and it's the same link where you'll be able to view your recording. And let's do a sign off real quick. I guess everybody could connect with you guys at SquadCast FM on all social. And my name's Esprit Devora. You can connect with me at Esprit Devora on all social. And we have Danielle and Alex in the chat. Thank you for such an amazing job. Is there one last question that we could answer before we wrap it up entirely?
I think the last one I saw was, when are these updates with our collaboration with Dolby landing? That'll be in May, so just about a month from now. And we're always working hard to make the experience on SquadCast even closer to reality. And this is a huge step in that direction. And Sripal, if you're still on, thank you again to Dolby, and thank you to everybody in the podcast community. Esprit, you have been an amazing host for this event. And thanks, we'll be back at it again next month with our State of Remote Podcasting.
And we'll give you guys one last, we'll give you like 2 minutes just to wrap it up in the chat so you don't feel like you're cut off from one another right away. And Eric, yes, that's how you spell my name. Here, I'll put it again right here. Let's see. This is how you spell my name. And then we'll put the SquadCast social. And so I'm just at Esprit Devora on all social. And we'll put the SquadCast social in the chat too.
That's a good idea, Mark. Thank you for that. We will we'll include the answers to the unanswered questions. I think that's pretty easy. We'll sum them up, and we'll have a blog post recapping as well, including the video from this event, so you can rewatch it if you like, and get those answers to you. That's a really good idea. Thank you. Perfect.
Let's see if there's anybody else that wants to connect with one another. Say bye. We're gonna sign off in just a minute or so here. Danielle and Alex, do you guys want to kind of say bye to everybody in the chat too? Have any bye remarks as well? Don't want to not count you guys in. And yeah, this is live, so there's not an official time left to the recording. Our official end time was at the top of the hour, but we're just going over in order to serve you guys more.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I love it, Bob, that you called in from Manchester. It's great. I love that there's people all around the world tuning in right now. Over 1,600 people wanted to be a part of what we have going on here. I mean, I just can't. That's 1,600, and it's over this, but it's 1,600 human beings, literal, not bots, literal humans who are part of the SquadCast community wanting to know what's going on. It's just really exciting. And I'm so grateful to be a part of it. Marie, we're so happy to have spent time with you today. Thank you for spending your time with us. And Mark, thank you. We love making things happen. Bye, Sarah. Loved having you on. Patty, you've been awesome. This is just so great. Eric, glad. Definitely feel free to reach out. Chris, yes. Chris is State of Remote Video Podcasting.
Let's get it. Let's get it, Chris.
Yep.
On that note, thank you guys. This has been wonderful. And thank you for being the founders that you are and building such an incredible technology to make it possible for us to be the best podcasters that we can be.
Thank you.
We're the ones who are grateful. Thank you.
Yes. Have a good day, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.